Guys, so I'm here to review The Hunger Games and hype for the final Hunger Games film, Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, which I'll see at some point. I don't know if I'm going to go see it Friday or on discount day, which is Tuesday. But anyways, until then, I'm going to review the Hunger Games franchise, because why not? I reviewed them last year, leading up to Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, but, the quality of the videos weren't that great. This is a little bit better. So, yeah, The Hunger Games came out in 2012, and it was directed by Gary. What's his fucking name? Doesn't matter. But anyway, The Hunger Games is starring Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, Liam Hemsworth, Wes Bentley, Lenny Kravitz, Stanley Tucci, Toby Jones, and yeah, Woody Harrelson's in here, and um, Elizabeth Banks is in here. So yeah, let's talk about the Hunger Games. Now, the Hunger Games, this movie's based off a series of teen novels, and I gotta be honest, I don't read those kind of books. I really don't read books in general. Like I said, aside from Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, I didn't really read books. And I gotta say, when this movie was like first coming out and there was all this hype for it, and I'm like, oh great, it's gonna be like another one of those fucking Twilight movies. It's gonna have this big giant fucking love story, and the people in this movie are gonna act like shit, even though I like the actors in this movie. The acting's gonna be shitty and the directing's gonna be terrible. And I gotta say, it's not. Um, it's definitely not anything like Twilight. I saw this movie after it hit Blu-ray and DVD. I rented it and I checked it out because I didn't want to watch it in the theater because of, as I told you, my expectations. But I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised in this movie. Now, this movie isn't great. Like, the series got better as it went on. I'll talk about that. But this one in particular, it's not bad. It's not a terrible film. It's a fun film. But basically, the plot of this movie, before we start talking about the cast, because there's a lot of cast members that I have to talk about, the plot of this movie is it's basically in like this post-apocalyptic world kind of thing, and they have these annual Hunger Games where two contestants, and like the world is set apart in different districts, and the Hunger Games picks out two people from each district to compete in these annual Hunger Games in which they have to kill each other in order to survive. And I know it sounds kind of fucked up for a teen novel. I know. But what like I said, I actually like this movie. I do. I was pleasantly surprised. Now, it's not the greatest thing. It doesn't beat Harry Potter or anything like that. Harry Potter will always remain as the best, novel to movie in my opinion when it comes to like the teen stuff. Yeah, that doesn't beat Harry Potter for me. If you saw my Harry Potter reviews, you know how much of a Harry Potter fan I am. But let's not talk about Harry Potter anymore. I don't want to mention Twilight again. So, the cast. Let's talk about the cast. Jennifer Lawrence is playing Catnip. And yes, I know her name's Katniss. I'm well aware of the names of the characters in these movies, but the names of the characters in these movies are so silly that I have to make fun of the names. So yeah. Katniss, aka Catnip, she wasn't picked for the Hunger Games. In fact, her younger sister Prim was selected, but she didn't want her sister going through that. She kind of figured in her head that her sister's not going to survive that. So, what does she do? She volunteers. I volunteer as tribute, is what she does. And she volunteers. And along her is, we have Pita Bread, aka Pita, who's played by Josh Hutcherson in the movie, who is the other one from District 12. I think that was the district. And they're picked for their district in the Hunger Games. They get selected, and then they meet Woody Harrelson, who's playing Haymitch. Haymitch is a guy who won the Hunger Games in the past, and now he's Catnip and Pita Bread's mentor. And then we meet Effie, who kind of looks like Lady Gaga a little bit with the way she's dressed. She's played by Elizabeth Banks. She's very colorful. She's into like all these weird styles and everything. That's a lot of things. The characters in these movies, especially Elizabeth Banks, is very, very colorful. I don't know what was going on with, the style. Like, I don't know what the author of the books was thinking, but hey, it's fine, I guess, for this kind of movie. At first it was weird, but then you kind of get used to it as the movie goes on. Elizabeth Banks' character is Effie. I like Effie a little bit in this one. I like her more as the series go on, and I'll talk about it a little bit. But in this first one, she's not bad. Woody Harrelson is awesome as Haymitch in this movie. I love Woody Harrelson in these movies. Lenny Kravitz is in this movie for a little bit. I think he's kind of underused. Like, I would have liked to see more of Lenny Kravitz in this movie. Yeah. Wes Bentley, he's supposed to be the guy who's, like, monitoring this Hunger Games, because the Hunger Games is, like, it's kind of like a live stream in, like, at home. So everybody who's at home can watch the Hunger Games. And, oh, I should mention, while they're in the Hunger Games, Catnip and Pita Bread are pretending to be in a romantic relationship together, just to, like, kind of, you know, they're doing it for the show. They don't really like each other. Well, Pita Bread likes Catnip, but Catnip doesn't like Pita Bread. That sounded weird when I'm making fun of their names like that, but yeah. So he's kind of hoping that maybe she'll actually start to have feelings for him, and she's kind of like, no, this is just for the games. I don't want you dry humping me when we get home or anything like that. So, but let's talk about the kills, alright? Because, like I said, these teens have to kill each other in order to survive. And you gotta remember, this is based off a teen novel, so we're not gonna see much brutality in these movies. But it's cool. Like, what you do see is actually pretty cool, and I like the whole setting of them in, like, the woods and, like, the forest area and stuff like that. And there's, like, a cave, and, you know, Pita Bread's hiding under a rock and stuff like that. And I gotta admit, I really do like the setting of this movie a lot when it comes to the actual games itself. Stanley Tucci, I have to talk about Stanley Tucci in this movie. He's playing, like, this, he's kind of like this host of this, of the pre-show, basically. He kind of interviews all the tributes, as they call them. They're not really they're contestants, but they call them tributes. He kind of interviews them all before the day they go in and stuff like that. I gotta say, Stanley Tucci is one of my top 5 favorite actors of all time. I'll watch anything Stanley Tucci's in, even Transformers 4, which was not a good movie. But Stanley Tucci, I gotta admit, was fine in that one too. But yeah, Stanley Tucci, one of my favorite actors. I love Stanley Tucci. Seeing him in this movie was great. He's another one of those colorful characters that's just, like, all in these weird colors and shit, and it's very weird. Wes Bentley has got this weird facial hair thing kind of going on, and yeah, it's cool. I like Wes Bentley in this movie. Wes Bentley is another character who I think was underused. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this in this review yet, I can't remember, but I have not read the books. So all I have to go on is the movies. So, you know, each year as these movies come out, I'm experiencing the Hunger Games world for the first time. You know, I have no idea what's going to happen. I got an idea of how it's going to go down in the last one, but yeah, so I have not read the books. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what happens. I don't know how accurate the movie is to the book. Not that it has to be, but I'm just saying for all you people who read the book and may not have seen the movie yet, I can't tell you how accurate it is because I haven't read the books. But The Hunger Games, it's a fun movie. So, yeah, and let me just say, the government in this movie is kind of like the government in our world. Fucking evil. Yeah, the government is not nice people in these movies. More on that later. But all in all, guys, I have fun with The Hunger Games. I was pleasantly surprised. It's not the best one in the series. But it's definitely not like Twilight, like I said. So, yeah. All that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give The Hunger Games, the first Hunger Games, I'm going to give it a B-. Yes. B-. I think that's fair. I've been giving a lot of B's out lately. I don't know what it is, if I'm just on a B streak or what, but I guess all the movies that I'm reviewing are kind of in that B range, most of them anyway. But yeah, the first Hunger Games, B-. What do you guys think of the first Hunger Games? Comment your thoughts on the video down below. Like the video, share, and subscribe. Just do it!